Whoa, government property classified access security seal do not remove. Is that actually what it kind of looks like? It looks a little bit reamed out, no? Yeah, it's a very good video. All right, gather around, gather around. Let's watch it together. This looks interesting.
These are two extremely rare phones from North Korea, and it's kind of insane that I'm even holding them.
Holy, wait. This looks like a phone from like 2016, maybe even 2015.
So cut off from the outside
sure
world that
it's
almost impossible to even get a text message out, let alone two fully functional smuggled phones that show us.
They don't even have Steam in North Korea. Did you know that?
In crystal clear detail what it's actually like to be a North Korean citizen. So this is the Heian 701. It's one of the country's budget phones. Just to give you an idea of how little is known about this stuff, you can Google the phone's name and nothing will come up. Absolutely zero.
Well, they have a closed off internet in North Korea, don't they? I remember that Vice documentary talked about it, how they have their own intranet. It's not an internet, it's an intranet.
The second is the Samtaesung 8, which is a flagship North Korean phone. And yet, this is different to South Korea's Samsung, which translates to three...
This reminds me of like Adidas versus Abobas. It's like a knockoff. This is like... What? Dude, this is dystopian. What? It autocorrects it to puppet state? Oh, dude, the indoctrination goes deep. That's insane.
It is bonkers seeing censorship this explicit happening in real time in front of my eyes. You physically cannot send the word Namhan.
I wouldn't have believed it if he didn't like have it right in front of him. Like, you know how they do the screen shift? I wouldn't have believed it if he didn't type it in himself and showed it.
Even if you try,
That's
it
crazy.
shows just how committed North Korea's government is to sustaining its narrative that South Korea is this inferior, less individual country. And you just try to make
you try to say a slur and it censors it. Wait, WoW actually does that with the N-word now. Yeah, a long time ago, you used to be able to type it and people could report you, right? But now if you type it and then you press enter, it just doesn't show up. That's the same thing.
Club Penguin username as swear word, and you can actually see the censorship becoming more invasive as time is going on. Because if we use this Heian phone with us, because Daily NK News, the guys who actually secured these phones in the first place, and whose basement I'm sitting in right now, they probed around and found all sorts of extra oddities in the software. Like how, if you type Kim Jong-un, the name of the current leader, into any app, it will make the text bold the second you finish the word. Or how all sorts...
Oh, it's like he's the server admin.
Sorts of South Korean slang is just subtly corrected to the more proper North Korean approved way of saying the same thing. Presumably because a lot of this slang originates in some capacity from South Korean media. And the North doesn't want their population to even indirectly experience that. But probably the single
That's crazy.
Easiest example of this is if we type oppa. This is a common South Korean expression that can be used to mean either older brother or in slang terms, boyfriend.
이거 좀 따주세요, 오빠.
Oh, I know this word from 5 Hearts Under One Roof. Yeah, I know this term. Oppa.
Which in itself does raise a few questions.
I had a few Korean friends that used oppa too, but
it corrects the word to comrade, accompanied by a warning. This word can only be used to describe your siblings. Imagine getting a warning for attempting to type a slang word. That's moderation on a level that I have never experienced before.
Wait, but wouldn't you question it if you saw that? Like, if you had a phone, wouldn't you just, like, for a moment be like, why did they have to put this in? Again, it makes me think, like, they really just, they censor them so hard.
But I would say even more significant than autocorrect, the biggest factor in controlling information going in and out of North Korea, and the main reason that the country is still this cryptic bubble and we barely know these phones even exist, is the internet situation.
Yes, they don't have an internet.
Really, the lack of one. Look at this. On the Heian phone, you can swipe down from the top and you see your control panel that looks...
There's no Wi-Fi button. There's Bluetooth, silent flashlight, brightness. There's no Wi-Fi. They just don't have it.
Basically the same as every other Androids. And there's even a Wi-Fi button there.
Oh, wait, there is. Never mind. I'm stupid. I can't see it.
When you press it, absolutely...
Oh, nothing happens. Wait, it's even worse than I thought. They didn't even remove it.
Absolutely nothing happens. Weird, but let's go into settings to click on Wi-Fi directly.
I think I should have designed this phone because I feel like they should have just like removed it instead of not having it work.
But you can't.
It makes people ask more questions. Why would you give them the option?
And they've actually gone a step further with this more recent Samtaesung, because you go into the quick settings, there isn't even a Wi-Fi icon at all.
I knew it. I think like they do. I'm a dictator. Kidding.
It's like they don't want you to even consider that the feature could be as accessible as that. The only way to get something that even resembles Wi-Fi,
they were like, okay, Alana knew.
It's called Mirai, and it needs so many details from you, including your government ID and an authenticated North Korean physical SIM card, that it's pretty safe to assume everything you do while using it can be traced right back to you. And even with all of that, this still doesn't get you onto the internet. There's actually no way for a North Korean citizen to do that. All this can get you is access to a highly curated North Korean intranet, where you can look at specifically government-approved TV, news, propaganda, and apps. More on that in a bit, but the key thing to know for now is it doesn't look like it would be a great experience. The app itself tells you to expect speeds between 2 and 33 megabits per second.
That's worse than my internet out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in like 2016. Nah, dude. That was in the middle of nowhere, and it was. I think I had 5. Blazing fast. Yeah, it's super fast.
Less than a 14th of the speeds that South Koreans are getting on their public Wi-Fi. I imagine the way that North Korea's leaders are seeing this is they know that the second they give their population access to the open World Wide Web, it's game over for being able to control the way they act and think. But at the same time, they can't give the people nothing if they're trying to convince them that their country is truly superior to all others.
You gotta give them a
this
bite.
Careful substitution of traditional Wi-Fi features for this highly traceable Wi-Fi equivalent that reinforces national pride as opposed to diluting it. But those speeds are so dated. And to be honest, everything about using both of these phones feels dated. It's pretty sad that this Samtaesung is one of their modern flagship phones. It was only released recently in 2023 in North Korea. It was priced pretty close to $1,000, but it looks like a mid-range Huawei phone from 2021.
It looks like a phone, like the UI, I mean, it looks like it's from 2015 or like 14.
Actually, let me be clear.
It's like
really
an old
looks like a mid.
It's like an old ass UI. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like I had I think I had a Samsung S4. Yeah, I saved up all my money and I got it secondhand.
Range Huawei phone from 2021. I'm almost getting deja vu looking at it. The way the camera module has an identical style and position. The way the body and the screen curves around in a seemingly identical way. Even this incredibly unique Huawei style cutout around the buttons and this red line in the middle of the power key is the same. Plus,
so it's just a knockoff, or they're making it for them. What are we talking about here? If it's that identical, then yeah, they probably just like either they took it and emulated it, or they just literally just got the Huawei whatever to like make it.
Security reasons, I've got to keep the IMEI number hidden. But when we traced it back, it does look like this phone was manufactured in China, just like Huawei phones. So I think there's 2 possible explanations. Either this phone was actually secretly made by Huawei themselves and supplied to North Korea for them to add their software layer.
Yeah, they probably paid him.
Samtaesung just decided, we like the look of that one, let's copy it. Because you're about to see this yourselves, but so much of the content on these phones is copied content already. Why not the phone design too? But also that unlike the Huawei that this looks so similar to, this phone does have a thicker bezel and a notch, this extremely tasteless font on show throughout the whole user interface, and then the only form of branding on the camera is a...
To be fair, it's really easy to read. Yeah.
Feebly written 64 megapixel that gives me absolutely zero reassurance it's going to be a good experience. And it is not. On the Haeyang phone, we're just getting extremely poor, grainy image quality.
It looks like... it looks like AI. You know when AI makes like a book cover and it's just like scratches it on kind of, so it looks like it's kind of like writing?
all around. And even though there are 3 cameras on the back of this phone, there is still no ultra-wide and no zoom. So both extra cameras are just...
So you can't take proper pictures, yeah?
Useless macro and depth cameras. A trend that, globally speaking, started to die out pretty fast after 2020. And so the idea that this thing released in 2023 with that kind of setup shows the time lag that we're operating with here. And then on the flagship Samsung, the camera is super buggy. We couldn't even get it to flip around to the rear cameras. And it's also got this really unusual...
That's on purpose.
...watermark plastered over it, which... When we reverse, it spells out, please contact Heinetron. Now, I did a little digging, and it turns out Heinetron is a small, private, China-based company who makes a lot of smartphone parts. So it kind of looks here like they've supplied some of the bits for this phone, but then North Korean Samsung has just, like, not paid their license fee or something. Regardless...
What? So they... No,
of whether this...
You know, like the watermark for webcams, like old school ass. You had the little Bandai.com.
Phone is a secret Huawei collab or just a blatant ripoff, it doesn't change the fact that it is terrible value when you consider the global market.
Yeah,
but that makes a lot of sense.
That's crazy.
With North Korea, we are talking about a very unusual market that has almost no competitive pressure. There's almost no incentive to give people cutting-edge tech. And if anything, the more dated the tech, the simpler it is, and therefore the easier it is going to be to control. That would also explain why the Haeyong is still running Android 10 with seemingly no ability to update beyond that, and why Samsung is stuck on Android 11, making it 5 years worth of updates behind current Android. Let me show you what I mean by all this copied stuff. So there is an app literally here with a Microsoft Word logo. You open it up and it gives you the option for Excel, PowerPoint, and Word, but I can assure you what you are getting here are not Microsoft apps, not even close in functionality. I would actually go as far as...
That's just a notepad, is it not? Am I crazy?
To say that at least 50% of the icons that you see on these phones are stripped directly from other companies, like File Manager and Compass. Those are basically Huawei icons that are very slightly reskinned.
Don't copy my homework, please! Okay, I won't promise. Let's change it just a little bit, like make it a little bit different.
Maps is an almost one-to-one of the Google Maps icon. This random game uses the same icon as the Mobi Office work application. But let's just zoom out for a second. Even the official Samsung wallpaper, I'm pretty sure they have literally just downloaded the wallpaper from an Honor phone and then added an...
They did! It's the same! Except that's worse. It's like they went through a filter and then like colored it a little bit. Oh my god.
To it. And then if I go over here to the About Phone section, I recognize that image. That image is actually stripped straight from the promo material of the completely different looking Huawei Mate 30 Pro phone from years ago. And yet it is serving as the poster image for the Samsung 8, which makes me side with the theory that this is a copy of Huawei as opposed to made by Huawei. Because if it was made by Huawei, surely the company would use an image that at least matched the design of the phone. There's a whole library of informational videos that you can buy as part of North Korea's intranet, like this one, all about the football club Arsenal. And on the face of it, you're like, oh, this is really premium, how professionally produced. But look a little closer, and you can see this is actually ripped straight from an Amazon Prime series. It's just instead of Stay in the Game, it's titled Sweat for the Win. And it's got the logo of a North Korean company.
I wonder if they changed the translations to fit their, like, you know, like they use certain words in the video or in the documentary that they don't like, and then they just straight up just change it. So that the people don't get any idea, so that it's good enough for them to consume.
Company plastered across the entire length of it. But there is literally no way that this North Korean company could have bought the license to sell this content, since there are literally sanctions on US companies like Amazon for collaborating with them. There's games too, tons of them. But I just want to show you this football game for a second. It opens with bizarrely the same logo that we just saw on the Amazon Prime show. So it seems like this is some sort of large-scale media redistribution brand who's taking international content and making it North Korea compliant. Then we see
they probably just take it and then cut it out, and so that it doesn't upset them.
Boot up screen with the game's title being International Soccer League 2.0, which is just so interesting because this shot of Messi's face, I reverse image searched it, is not from International Soccer League.
It looks like a 3D render. Like, do you see the lighting and the... Do you see the lighting right here? It almost looks like in the square shape. I can't... It almost looks like AI.
2.0, but instead a screen grab from a trailer of Japanese-made Pro Evolution.
No, I told you! Oh my god, there's no way.
Soccer. The other thing,
I thought it was a real person at first, like as in I thought it was Messi, like a picture, and then it looked like it was almost AI.
I think is absolutely fascinating about this football game is the Asian players are missing. Like you can select.
Oh my god, what?
The team, Tottenham Hotspur, with all the correct roster as of 2022 when the game was launched, but with the only South Korean member of that team, Son Heung-min, not present. They just.
So they don't know that South Korea is playing with like internationals and like it's cool. It's like they'll start thinking like, oh, why aren't we playing with them? Like, how come our North Korean boys don't play with them, huh?
Just chopped him again, presumably to not show North Koreans that South Koreans have proper international athletic careers. In fact, just the general situation with apps in North Korea is so different to what you and I are used to. The first thing that jumps out, smartphone. This right here is a
maybe not that many, but like a good chunk. I think I've deleted like probably like 10.
medicine app, but a medicine app where you can order whatever you might need for home delivery. There's maps with navigation too, although fascinatingly, it doesn't show a clear dividing line between North and South Korea, and also doesn't let you zoom any further out than the country itself.
Oh my god, it's like all undiscovered area. They don't exist.
It's a little...
Does that say, is there any Koreans in the chat? Can anybody read that? Does that say China? This part. Hold on, maybe I can recognize it. China in Korean letters. Oh, it is! Look, it's the same little bloop bloop bloop. That, so they do recognize that China's there, but you can't even like zoom in on it. The war fog! Yes, the fog of war!
It's a little bit more advanced than I was expecting in some ways too. Like there's a store here where you can buy things like smartwatches and TVs all using an electronic wallet, and it's part of the intranet.
But this is for the rich though, for the elites. It's not for like the everyday person. Like I can find a homeless person with an iPhone out in like wherever I live, right? Like I can probably ask them, be like, do you have a phone? And they pull out an iPhone or whatever. This is for the ultra elite.
It's also on this phone really surprising to see, if we look past the logo that is very clearly just an NBC ripoff. This is online gambling, with even the option for sports betting, as well as...
They have gambling? They literally censor everything. But gambling! It just shows that gambling's just gonna stay here, man. There's no way. Even in the dictatorship, the tiny state. Oh my god, I actually can't believe that. How capitalist of the... I know, I'm actually mind blown.
Just a pretty hefty catalogue of video content that you can download onto the phones. But you can also see that...
What? Why?
I've seen before, like 3 Idiots. The link between North Korea...
Why? You could not explain that one to me. Excuse me?
And India isn't as clear-cut, but the guys from Daily NK have a theory that Indian culture hits a bit of a sweet spot. It's kind of different enough to seem exotic and interesting to North Koreans, but while still not posing a threat to their culture in the way that Western content does.
That's
and then
so
there's just a whole load of
interesting.
apps that feel not just
No,
guided
I understand that Bollywood's popular, but like they have such a restriction on like culture.
by the government, but directly requested by them. Like this one is entirely biographies of past and current North Korean rulers. Something else I've never seen before is a general guidance app, which is split into 4 categories: laws, regulations, a legal dictionary, and then common sense, which really is exactly what it sounds like. It's so strange. It's like, how should we legally understand the family? Who are relatives? Can't relatives
Oh my god.
marry? I wonder if the idea is giving every single person the same set of ideologies and learnings, and even
Well, that's
there's
why
like
you don't
a
have the
humor section
internet,
here, so
man.
that they effectively become the same person, to squash individuality. There's even a cooking app which guides you through
Oh my god, that's actually really nice.
how to make traditional
want
North
that.
Korean cuisine. And all of these
I wanna
more
make Korean
official looking
cuisine. That
apps, they
sounds
open
nice.
by first showing you a famous quote from one of their leaders, which so feels like something. And all of these more official looking apps, they open by first showing you a famous quote from one of their leaders, which
Bro, I gotta make like a phone, and then every time you open up YouTube, there's like a quote from me that pops up. That, yeah, in-app SmugAlana propaganda.
so feels like something you'd see on the loading screen of a dystopian video game.
Yeah, it's like a
But this
loading
is real
screen
life.
tip,
And then there's
dude.
also just a ton of games to play. Why is this one booting up with the Delta Airlines logo?
What the fuck? Delta Airlines?
Most of them feel pretty simple, with a big emphasis on offline play, which is true for the whole phone experience. It's
Yeah,
actually wild
makes
how
sense.
much we've been able to show and do, and that's all no doubt because the internet situation in North Korea is
Oh, look,
so
you're playing
sketchy.
FIFA.
So
Ooh.
crazy amount of stuff on
Wow.
both of these phones. But there's a very good reason for that. See, getting new apps is not as easy for North Koreans as it is for us. They have an app store. You can download apps on your own, but, and I can't actually quite wrap my head around how this is the reality, you can't open those apps until you've taken your phone to an in-person store where they will
What?
authorize them for use and download the necessary back-end data for them to function. And believe it or not,
What?
there's an extra wrinkle that comes with this. Your apps in North Korea expire. So this one here is telling me it's run out, and he's
What?
basically asking if I want to pay for 6 months or for 12 months for
Oh my god. Wait, don't give them ideas. No, do not give Google, please don't look at this. Apple, don't look at this. Please don't give them ideas. This is so bad. Oh my god. Yeah, blow your license, mate.
a bit of a discount, effectively making every
Oh, you want to play your new expansion for World of Warcraft? Oh, I guess you haven't paid your 6-month subscription in advance yet.
app
Gotta
a paid
pay.
subscription, even ones you would not expect to be, like the laws of North Korea. Bearing in mind, North Korea is one of the poorest countries in the world, with its
Yeah.
national income per person being just 3.4% of that of South Koreans. This feels
Wow.
like a pretty tough
Crazy.
pill to swallow. I think it's likely that just the concept of being able to sustain a large library of apps is a luxury that very few will be able to afford. And that's assuming you can even afford the phone in the first place. Now, even
Yeah,
if you
it's like
did find a way to
$1,000
sideload your
American, that's
apps without
insane.
going to a physical store for that authorization, or if you found a way to get around the app expiration system, which we realize you could temporarily do just by changing the date on your phone
That's
to an earlier
smart.
one, there's a very
Yeah, fuck you.
important
You
reason
get my
why
money.
you might not want to try that in North Korea. And it's called Red Flag. Red Flag is an underlying layer of surveillance
It's a
software that
snitch
appears
app.
on all phones sold in North Korea. We know it exists because we can see the effects of it, and I'm told older versions used to be really easy to see and get around, but in these newer phones, Red Flag is now baked into the lowest level of the Android software, making it almost untraceable and impenetrable. Plus, it
What?
blocks off developer settings, which you can normally unlock by tapping this build number several times, meaning that it stops you figuring out what is really going on behind the scenes. But the idea of Red Flag is to persistently make sure that what you're doing on your phone is legitimate. So every
Wow.
file, every app, every photo that you take
No
has a digital
way.
signature, a record that signals to the phone.
I need to start doing that for my viewers. You got another VTuber up on your screen. Zap.
where that file originated from. Red flag makes sure that the only files or apps that can be opened on these phones are either ones with the North Korean government signature or a self-signature, which is files that originate from the phone itself.
Yeah, you need my
like
signature,
photos
otherwise
from
you're
your
not
camera.
allowed.
Anything else originating from anyone else won't have an approved signature, and so will not open. It'll just get automatically deleted by the software when it's sent to one of these phones. Now, that doesn't seem to have stopped people from trying to get unauthorized content to work. There was an extensive report from Martin Williams and Niklaus Scheiss, which goes into how some would try to skirt the system by opening foreign files via the phone's web browser. But now that the signature checks are happening on a deeper device level, it can pick those up. It doesn't work. Or there was a Daily NK report last year that mentioned while North Koreans couldn't store outside videos on their phones, they could insert SD cards containing the material into their phones instead. However, there is one final, very sinister surveillance feature, clearly designed to deter any attempts at this. These devices, both of them, will take periodic screenshots as you're using them. You don't see these screenshots being taken in the same way that you'd expect to. But you know it's happening because I can actually show you the folder where they're being stored. I can see.
They let you know that they're taking screenshots because they don't care.
This has actually been taking screenshots today while I've been recording this video. The frequency of the shots seems to vary, but it's many times per day. And the most alarming part of it is,
dude, it's like every... This one's frequent. Yeah, it's like every 10 minutes. Depending on when you're using it, I suppose.
What you can do is look. You can't click on them, you can't check them, you can't delete them. Now, whether the phones are sending those grabs over the intranet to the government continuously, or if they're just used when an official has doubts about you and wants to specifically confirm their suspicions, it's anyone's guess. But would you want to risk it in North Korea? Based on accounts from people who've escaped, this is a country which, since at least 2020, has had a law that spells out distributing and even just watching South Korean entertainment is punishable by death. People who distribute this content are tried alongside drug criminals. It's considered the same tier of crime, which says a lot about the priorities of the regime. So it really feels like every part of these devices, from the words you're allowed to type to the videos you're allowed to watch, are designed to reinforce a single narrative. North Korea is superior, foreign influence is dangerous, and everything you do is being watched.
Scary!
It makes me very grateful for how easy tech is made for the rest of us. I'm kind of curious, compared to the hour that it would take to go to a physical store to install a single app on a North Korean phone, how long does it take to install an entire internet connection with Sailey, our sponsor? So search for South Korea,
Sailor's
click
good,
that.
though.
Let's do 5 gigabytes, $10.99, go next. It's loading, and I click Apple Pay, buy with Apple Pay, and payment is processing, confirming order, processing order.
Ooh, so fast.
And done. 20 seconds.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all. That's basically why I'm using a Sailey eSIM plan right now in South Korea. It cost me $10, and because Sailey supports almost every country, it doesn't matter where you're going. You can just have one app for all your travels. So head to sailey.com/boss and use the code BOSS for an extra 15% off.
Ooh, fascinating. Yeah, wow. So, Alana can't watch Alana in North Korea. True, you probably can't. Even if I wear red. You know, that was a cool video. I like that. I like informational videos like this. Makes me appreciate what I have.